This is the brand new Sigma 35mm F1.4 Art lens. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador. And in this video I'll share my first impressions on the brand new Sigma 35mm F1.4 Art lens. And this lens is on loan from Sigma Nordic, and I'd like to say big thanks to them for letting me try this lens before it becomes available for everyone to purchase. And I just got this lens yesterday, and I basically had one afternoon to play with this lens before I started recording this video. And I can tell you several things about this lens, but my sample pictures are not that awesome because of the short time I had with this lens before I started recording this video. However, I plan to make another proper photo walk with this lens later this week before I return this back to Sigma. A 35mm has always been my favorite full-frame focal length, and that's why I was really super excited to try this brand new Sigma 35mm f1.4 Art lens. This is a brand new design, and this is the third Sigma mirrorless lens that's been designed from scratch for mirrorless cameras. The other two lenses are the 35mm f2 and the 35mm f1.2, which I have reviewed, and I'll link to that review at the end of this video just in case you're interested to see that. And the previous or the current 35mm f1.4 Art is based on Sigma's DSLR lens, and while it's a great lens, it's not fully optimized for mirrorless cameras. And here's a little Sigma trivia for you guys. Sigma has these 3-digit codes on their lenses. And the new lens, for example, this 35 1.4 has the code 021, and this code tells you in which year the lens was first released. So if you are buying a Sigma lens and you are a little bit confused by the number of versions of the same lens, just look at the code on the lens, and that's going to tell you which lens is or which version is the latest of that particular lens or focal length. This new lens is available for the L mount and also for the Sony E mount. And right away, when you look at the lens, it looks like a Sigma. The design is very similar to all other Sigma Art lenses, and I think that's really good because I like Sigma's simple black design, which doesn't draw any attention when you are out there using the lens. I like that. I like this kind of modest, almost Spartan design that these Sigma lenses have. The optical construction is 15 elements in 11 groups with all kinds of special glass elements in there just to make sure the optical quality is top-notch. And it is top-notch, as we can see later in this video. And this weighs in at about 645 grams without the hood, which is included in the price, and the filter size is 67 millimeters. This is a little bit smaller and more compact than the previous DSLR-based lens with the same specifications. This lens is not super compact by no means, but it's still not too big either for what it is. It balances quite well on Lumix camera bodies, but on the S5, which is a relatively small full-frame camera, it feels maybe slightly nose-heavy, but not too uncomfortable to hold and use. But on the S1R or the S1, it feels really super nicely balanced, and it's really like a perfect match for any S1 camera. And this combo feels so nice and really well balanced, and it's a joy to use. And this lens also features aperture ring, which I like a lot, but you can also lock the lens to the A position if you prefer to control your aperture from the camera. And you can also lock the lens out of the A position so you don't accidentally turn it to A if you prefer to use the ring. On manual and aperture priority mode, you control the aperture from the ring, but if you want to use shutter priority or program mode, you can leave the ring wherever you want and the camera will automatically select the appropriate aperture on P and S mode. So you don't have to turn the ring to A in order to be able to use S or P mode. And then there is the lens button, which you can program to your liking. And the manual focus ring feels about as good as it can with the focus by wire system. But unfortunately, again, this Sigma does not obey Lumix linear focus throw settings. On Lumix cameras, you can set the focus throw in the camera, in the menu, but unfortunately Sigma lenses don't work with that. No matter how you set the focus throw, it's always the same on Sigma lenses, and that's a shame. I think it would be nice if you could set the focus throw using the camera menu like you can do with native Lumix S lenses. In photography, the autofocus works really well and it's super fast. And there is only one focusing element here, and that makes the focusing much faster than on the other 35mm F1.4 art lens, which is based on the Sigma's DSLR design. And I also made a very simple video autofocus test, and I have to say that I was a little bit disappointed because this Sigma did not perform that well in that particular test. However, in photography, like I said, the autofocus is really fast and accurate, and I had no problems whatsoever with that. And then about the sharpness, we all want to know if this lens is sharp, and I can tell you it is sharp. Sigma also claims minimal flare and ghosting, and also reduced coma, which should be great for astrophotography. But I had no way to confirm that during this short time I've had with this lens. But it is sharp. I shot mostly wide open because that's what we're interested in. Every full frame premium prime lens is sharp from about f4 to f11, so that's pretty much for granted. But even wide open, this lens is really sharp, and of course it gets a little bit better when you stop down, but I would not hesitate to use this lens wide open even in the most demanding situation. There's a little bit of vignetting, which according to Sigma is because this lens is relatively compact for what it is. I don't mind about some vignetting. I think it only looks good most of the time, and I didn't find that vignetting distracting in any of my pictures so far. And there is some in-camera distortion correction going on, so I can't really tell you how well this lens is optically corrected for distortions. But at least on Lumix camera I didn't see any distortions. I saw a little bit of longitudinal chromatic aberrations, also called Bokeh Fringing, but also those, even though I could see them, they were never distracting or they never took my attention away from my main subject. This lens becomes available next month in May 14th, 2021, and the recommended price in euros is 949 euros. At the moment I have no idea about the US dollar price, but it's easy enough to find out if you just go to any online store and check out this lens. You can see the price there. My guess is that it's somewhere around $8.99 or something like that. And at the moment in April 2021, when I'm recording this video, this lens would be a no-brainer for any Lumix user looking for a fast, sharp, wide angle for their Lumix camera. However, Sony users, they have plenty of 35mm options. I mean, there are a lot of those options, but still this Sigma would be worth a look even if you are a Sony user. I think this is an awesome lens. And here's my Sigma 35mm F1.2 review, just in case you want to check it out. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.